Okay, it looks like I'm on there. Now let's see if my guests I have 0 viewers. So now the viewers, I'm just gonna working on put on the chat window. It says they're going to watch. So now does this will this automatically record it to YouTube and put it onto YouTube as well, or do I have to do something else?
Let me see. 1 second.
Okay.
After the broadcast is over, automatically
and put it on the YouTube as well?
YouTube
Or
channel.
do I have to do something else? What's that? Say again?
Let me see. After the broadcast is over, automatically YouTube is going to post your video on your channel, on your YouTube channel.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Cool.
Okay. Anything else I can help you?
That sounds good. I think we're good. I'm just going to see.
Broadcast is over, automatically
put it on the YouTube
channel.
Or do I have to do something else? I'm just say again. Typing in the chat window to make sure they can hear me.
The broadcast is over. Okay. Automatically, YouTube is going to post your video on your channel, on your YouTube channel.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Cool.
Okay. Anything else I can help you?
That sounds good. I think we're good. I'm just going to see.
Broadcast is over. Automatically, put it on the YouTube channel.
I have to do something else. I'm just say again. Typing in the chat window to make sure they can hear me. Now, what's interesting is they can see and chat on Google Plus, but when I'm click over to the Google Hangouts window, I can't see any chats. I have to be on my Chrome.
That sounds good. I think we're good.
Where that is that normal?
Give me 1 second.
Okay. So. Because I want it to be as interactive as possible. I want to be able to see them in the be able to click on them on the bottom here, and I can only see me. I see I have 3 viewers, but I'm not able to interact with them on the Google Hangouts video chat. If you know what I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And in the past, I think I've been able to see them. Okay, so. Is it because I have to maybe invite them up at this invite window up here? Let's try that.
Okay, I think that you need to download an extra application to be able to see them. Otherwise, you're going to be able to broadcast. I can forward you all this information so you can have it on handy and review it. Since,
okay.
Google Hangouts on Air is not part of our core service. And that's why I'm not that familiar with this specific application.
Okay, because usually in Google Hangouts, in the past when I've done old Hangouts, I could see them all the way across the bottom of my screen here, and I could click on them if I wanted to ask a question and that kind of stuff interactively in the call, right?
Exactly, that's correct.
Yeah.
That happened with Google Hangouts, but this is Hangouts on Air that has a different platform.
Oh, okay.
So you might see options, a few different options that are not available on the regular Hangouts.
Okay, so I just need to do a regular Hangout next time. That's why this is happening. I screwed it up.
That's okay, don't worry. So
okay,
remember
cool.
that the difference between Hangouts on Air and Hangouts is that Hangouts on Air, you're able to do a broadcast. On Hangouts, you cannot. You can just do a meeting.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thanks. I appreciate it. Have a good one. I don't want to keep these people waiting any longer. So.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks.
And just to let you know, I will go ahead and proceed to close this case. Is that okay?
Yeah, that sounds great. Thanks.
All right, James.
All right,
Have
bye.
a great day, and thank you for choosing Google.
All right, sorry everybody for the error. I guess I did a Google Hangout on error, and I was only supposed to do just a regular Google Hangout. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and we'll make this quick. So, all right, so thanks for getting on, Tate and Orvella. I'm going to go over the membership booklet. This is the booklet. I should tell you the number on this booklet is 53944 BRO dot 1995 UNI, and that stands for 1995 Universal. These are free. If you sell a membership, you can get 5 for free. If you're group qualified, you can get 8 for free. So it's nice to be handy. If you do order these, I think they're $1/4 a piece or something, but these are typically what I use for my presentation. I used to use trifold brochures, but I like this because I don't have to carry around different trifolds or different cut sheets when I'm doing a personal membership. I only carry this, which is nice. So hopefully you'll find this helpful, and hopefully this will come through good because we are using on-air Hangouts. And you know, I haven't used on air before, so hopefully it'll turn out good. So with that, I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to tilt it down a little bit further just so you can see it better. This is this brochure, and so how I do it is, you know, let's pretend I had just been at Starbucks for about 5-10 minutes, chatting with somebody, or I was chatting with somebody on the phone. You can use this as a guide when you're on the phone. Even Jerry said one time he used it as a guide when he was in his car. Somebody saw the thing he has on his windshield and called him, and so he used this kind of to guide himself through that phone call. So when I talk to somebody, what I do is I always open the first page here, and this is a little bit about company history. And how I address this one is I always just tell people, this just talks a little bit about our company. We've been around for 40 years. Our attorneys are rated by martindale.com, which is the Consumer Reports of Attorneys. They've been rated attorneys for about 150 years, and most of our attorneys are rated preeminent, which is the highest rating you can get. So you're really getting some of the best attorneys possible around, and that's kind of what this page talks about. Then I flip to the next page when I'm talking to the customer, and I just talk about, you know, these are some situations where our customers have used the service or might use the service. This kind of answers that a question, well, I've never really used an attorney, but why would I need one? This is a lot of that good, like, memory joggers and something they can kind of look at afterwards. But what I really came here to talk to you about today, and this is all things I say when I'm doing the presentation, is really about the plan and what we offer. And I'm sorry if this is a little blurry. I'm trying to make it as good as possible. And if you need Tate, I've got about 60 of these in my thing. If you email me in my storage, in my office storage here, if you email me your address, I'll mail you 5 or 6 of these so you can have these on hand just to kind of get you started. You may have got one in your associate kit as well. I think they do ship them, but I'm not sure because sometimes the kits change. So what I typically do is I start off with, just right off the get-go, is I write up on the top, and I'm going to do this really quick, is I write no contracts, 1995 plus $10 enrollment one time. So what I'll typically do is I'll be writing it when so I write it across the top here. You can kind of see it. Sorry if it's a little blurry. It says no contracts, 1995, one-time $10 enrollment. So that way, I like getting the price out in front because it also gives me something to talk about in my presentation. So what I'll do is, see, I'll be writing this, and when I'm writing this, as I say, I write this because it's important because there's no contracts or catches with what we do. Everything's month to month, and that's important to me as a sales associate because one of the things is that I know that our customers are going to be taken care of because we're not roping them into a 1 or 2 year contract like your cell phone. So if we don't take care of you, you're going to cancel. So the focus stays in the right place. It stays on you, the customer. So what do we offer you as the customer for that $19.95? We give you unlimited advice, which means you can call your attorneys as much as you like. Unlimited, it actually means unlimited. Your rates aren't going to go up. There's no contracts or catches with anything we do, which is what I really love. That's why I love working with this company. You get 24/7 access. Unfortunately, in November 2nd of 2012, I had to use this service for something very traumatic. Most of our members only use it for maybe something simple or trivial, or like when it comes to like maybe you got in a minor fender bender and you want to know what to say or something like this. But in this case, what happened was I was driving in the car with my wife, and we were going over to pick up my daughter at her ex-husband's house at 11:30 on a Friday night. And she was scared because he had gotten into a fight with his current wife, and she had left and he had went after her, and my daughter was there all alone. My stepdaughter was there all alone, and so we went and picked her up, and we asked some questions. Do we call 911? What do we do? We're going to charge with kidnapping. What's interesting about that is the attorneys actually advised us in that case not to call 911. We were well within our rights as parents. It would have been more traumatic if the cops showed up, and there just would have been a lot more issues. But they did advise us on some reports we needed to file and some things we needed to do. So that was very helpful in that situation. It actually took a traumatic situation, just made it a little easier to deal with. And consequently, when we got home, about 20 minutes after we got home, my wife's ex-husband texted her and said, I'm going to have you investigated. You kidnapped my daughter. My wife texts back, I spoke with my attorneys. We're well within our rights as parents. And we were more within our rights to do that and be able to pick up our daughter. So it just made it so that he knew he couldn't bully us around. And really, that's what this service is about. It's protecting your rights and not letting people or corporations or whoever it may be kind of bully you around. You actually have somebody. You have some legal recourse with somebody you can talk to. You get letters and phone calls on your behalf. I have a customer that was overcharged $400 by Verizon. He had been fighting with them for 3 months, and finally he calls me up and says, okay, go ahead and sign me up for Legal Shield. The attorneys send a letter. They did the document review, which is something that's included in our plan as well, found out that it was Verizon's fault. So the attorneys sent a letter, and sure enough, within 2 weeks, he had gotten that letter back from Verizon saying that it was their mistake, that he had 3 months free service, and they were also going to send a letter to the credit bureau and update his credit report and fix everything for him, and they apologized for him. His name was Mr. Howard, and they even sent the letter to Mr. Howard. So it changed the dialogue after 3 months. But it's really about enforcing our rights and using an attorney and having those access to an attorney. Talked about a little bit about document review. This is very useful. Anytime you're going to sign a lease or a contract, or I've had customers that were changing employers, and they wanted to know what are they signing, because none of us know what we're signing or what we're getting ourselves into when we're changing employers. Wouldn't it be just nice to know what that document says? We're going to prepare. Oh yeah, the other thing is we do document review on unlimited amount of pages for your mortgage document. So that's really handy. We just need to have, the attorneys need to have that more than 5 days prior to your closing, so they have plenty of time to review your mortgage documents when you're buying a home. We'll prepare your will, living will, healthcare power of attorney, and we'll also prepare a trust for minors. I know in Colorado, I'm not sure how it is in Florida, Tate, but in Colorado, if you don't have a will and you pass away, your kids go into foster care. And that's scary because, like one of my clients, her son, her 21-year-old son, didn't have a will. She's a great grandmother, has a security clearance. I mean, just straight as an arrow. It took her 18 months of fighting through the court system before she got custody of her granddaughter, because they had to know that she was worthy of caring for the grandchild because the son didn't have a will. And so then they have to go through all kinds of psychological tests and all the stuff that the state goes through before they deem you worthy. So the next part of it is motor vehicle defense. We're going to defend you in a motor vehicle citation. Attorney will actually show up to court if you get a speeding ticket or something of that nature. And this is important because this is not covered by your car insurance. It will keep your car insurance rates down if you can get it pleaded down. We do not cover infractions related to alcohol and drugs, so like DUIs and that kind of stuff is not covered under the plan. But you know, they also have, like, one of our customers in Kansas, the guy was legal, did everything he was supposed to. You know, his vehicle was registered. The trailer came off the hitches and accidentally killed somebody. Legal Shield covered his whole legal defense in that case and saved the guy about $80,000 because all the criminal stuff, the traffic violation stuff, is not covered by your insurance company. So this covers an important gap for our members. The next part is if you get audited by the IRS, we're going to defend you in that IRS audit, and we're going to have a tax attorney actually represent you. We are also going to prepare the paperwork if you have uncontested name change, adoption, separation, or divorce. Finally, we're going to give you trial defense services. We're going to defend you if somebody sues you in a civil trial defense. You're going to start with 60 hours of total trial time between pretrial and regular trial time and build up to 300 hours by your 5th year as a customer. So it goes up 60 hours every year. And to kind of give you an idea what that looks like is the OJ trial was 305 hours. And if you took the average rate of an attorney at $300 an hour just in your first year, that's actually $18,000 of attorney time. That's huge benefit at $19.95 a month. So the other part is this is designed to be a shield and not a sword or like a DUI or something of that nature. We have our 25% discount. So if you're going to go on the offensive, this is where the discount, and I always liken it to the average attorney rate across the country is $300 an hour. At 25% off, our members are going to pay $225 an hour, so it can be a significant savings. But before you decide to go on the offensive, where the real value in this membership is going back to the advice in the document review. A lot of people pursue lawsuits and spend a lot of time and money and effort that they shouldn't be pursuing on something they can't win or very little chance of winning. So use the membership first, use the advice, use the document review, and find if you have a valid case, and then go ahead and go to the discount. So there's a huge value in making sure that you use the services that are already provided. About 90% of our services are already covered under the membership, so our members are typically using the membership. Now, how do we get preeminent attorneys rated by the Consumer Report attorneys for $19.95 an hour? We do that by this $19.95 a month, not an hour. This $19.95 a month is broken up into 3 ways. A third goes to the associates, a third goes to the company, and a third goes to the law firm in that state, and you are covered in every state. Now what happens is it's like putting a co-op or pooling our resources together. If you have 10,000 people in the state and they're all paying, let's say, $19.95 a month, and just for easy math we'll say $6 a month of that is going to the law firm, that's $60,000 a month that the law firm is getting from our members. So they can go out and they can afford to prepay and have attorneys on call ready for us to advise us. At $60,000 a month, they're bringing in some pretty good money, and they can get some pretty good attorneys. So you can imagine in some of the big states where they might have 30,000 or 40,000 members. Like in Colorado, we actually have 36 attorneys in our law firm, and what's really great about that is those attorneys all specialize in different areas of law, such as the estate planning for the wills. We have a few attorneys that all they do is do wills, trusts, health power of attorneys, and advise on estate planning. That's all they do. So that's really handy. So that's the baseline membership. Now, you know, usually what I'm doing is I'm talking to the members a little bit ahead of time, but I will bring up the trial defense supplement. This is an additional $9.95 a month. It's going to give them an extra 100 hours of trial time. And then we have our home-based supplement. Let's say you have a home-based business and you want to be covered if you get your business gets audited, because it covers the C and the E tax returns on there. So you could get audit protection, debt collection letters, articles of incorporation. You know, they can help you with a lot of that stuff on the home-based business writer. So if my customers do have this, I will touch on this a little bit, but I always just touch on it for a couple minutes because you never know. Maybe I didn't find out they had a home-based business, but by touching this, all of a sudden they do have a home-based business, and they're going to add an additional $9.95 a month to their plan, which obviously is good for you because you make a little bit more money, and you help the customer protect their needs when it comes to their business. Now, the other part that we have is the next page is the identity theft piece. So how I do the identity theft piece is I actually talk about in two sections, and what I do is I also write on top of there, I go $14.95 or with, and I just do with legal, $9.95, and then I do $29.95 or with legal, and I'll show you this here in a second, $19.95. And I just write that on top. And what I say is, you can do the identity theft standalone, or you can do the legal, but if you bundle it just like you would bundle your internet and your cable TV, it's about a 30% discount. And sorry if this is a little blurry, but it does say right here, $14.95 or with legal, $9.95, which is about a 30% discount. So I always talk about that. Now, what I do is I like to get the prices out front, and I tell people, you know, our prices, no contracts or catches. And because we have no contracts or catches, you can add identity theft at any time. You don't have to do it today, but I highly recommend it because 50% of Americans, according to the Federal Trade Commission, got hit by identity theft last year. So half of the U.S. got hit by identity theft. So it's something you definitely need to be aware of. Now, what I do is I say, you know, here's a couple areas where we're going to be different from the other guys. There's a lot of areas where we're very similar to the other guys. You know, we're going to do the credit monitoring, we're going to do the advice, they're going to do the advice, but here's where we're different. We're different in two areas. One, everything is flat rate. So when you see $9.95 or you see $19.95, that's the flat rate for your entire household. The other area we're different is we do full restoration. And Kroll actually does our full restoration. We partnered with them. There are a lot of former CIA and FBI agents, licensed private investigators. They're the best at what they do. They do security clearances for the government. They were the forensic accounting firm for Enron. They were actually retained by Target to find the guys that had hacked the Target systems and were instrumental in the investigation and finding those couple guys in Mexico. So they really are the best around. They're a worldwide firm. They've been around for 40 years, and they're going to take care of the problem for you. Why is this important? The IRS said that the identity theft or identity fraud with tax returns, on average, will take you as the individual 312 days to fix. 312 days. If you have a full-blown identity theft case, you're talking to 400 to 600 hours of your time over an entire year. That's like having a part-time job. So the other guys out there, and I just say this because everybody knows the name. I'm not saying anything bad about them, but LifeLock, that you get a do-it-yourself kit. They do a good job of monitoring and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, that part-time job, if you're a LifeLock customer, is up to you. You've got to go get it done. You've got to take care of the legal issues. You've got to write the letters. You've got to make the phone calls. You've got to do all that on your own. Yeah, they might advise you, but unless you have infinite amount of time on your hands, you're going to be spending a lot of time doing that. You're going to have to either take vacation time, personal time off. If you're a business owner, that takes you away from growing your business and doing sales. And so that's really where we have a huge benefit, is our private investigators will take care of the problem for you. Now, this top section you see, I call this kind of the reactive section. What I would like to talk about next is our proactive. So what are you getting for the extra $10 a month? One of the big things is trying to prevent identity theft before it happens, and the Web Watcher tool is phenomenal. This, you enter email addresses, bank account information, credit card information, passport, medical information bureau, you name it, and you're going to be able to. They're going to go out to the internet and they're going to search for people trying to buy and sell your information. And now I found out how well this works is about 4 months ago. I got an alert on this. And so I called the fraud investigators right away, and they said that somebody had hacked my email account and was trying to buy and sell my email account information to an identity thief. That identity thief, had he got into my email account, would have then started scrubbing it for my personal information. But since they had caught it before it had happened, it prevented all the other bad stuff from happening. Now, are they going to catch everything? No. But they're going to try to catch it ahead of time. They're going to try to catch it ahead of time by searching public records. If you lose your wallet, they're going to put fraud alerts on everything for you. You just call them up immediately, and they're going to patch you into the fraud lines and get that taken care of. So they're going to search the Social Security skip trace database, which this is 10 times more thorough than your credit database. Your life is on there. This is where private investigators, the IRS, the government, you name it, this is where people they go to find you, is the skip trace database. And finally, 1 in 6 sex offenders are filing in somebody else's address. So it's important to have that sex offender search, because the last thing you want is having your house labeled as a sex offender. The final thing I show people when I'm doing that is if you flip to the next page, you'll see that that there's a section here that says comprehensive restoration. I'm going to underline the last, let's see here, it's the last 3 lines. So when I'm talking to a customer, I'll actually underline it right in front of them. And I always give them these booklets to take with them, but it's a good reference point, even if you're doing it over the phone and talking to people out of town or family members. It's a guide. But what I like about this is, and you can barely see the underlines. I'm sorry this is so blurry. Maybe it's clearer on your end, I'm hoping. It says here, regardless, I'm just going to read it, regardless of the length of time it takes to complete, your investigator will work to remediate the identity theft issues and restore your identity to pre-theft status, regardless of the amount of time it takes. We don't have a limit on if it's 5 hours or 20 hours or 3 months or 6 months or 1 year. The private investigators, they are going to work until you're satisfied as a customer. It's one more way we show that with no contracts and no catches, that the emphasis is on you as a customer, because we're going to work until you're happy. Because if we don't work till you're happy, you can cancel it. You can get rid of the service. But that's what's great, is we have 1.4 million families across the United States that voluntarily renew this service every month, even though they have the option to cancel it. They keep it because they see the value, and we take care and make sure their needs are taken care of. So with that, I'm going to stop the broadcast. If you want, Tate and Orvella, since this is on airs, I can't really do the questions as well. I'm going to go ahead and do a three-way call and maybe answer any questions you might have, if that works for you guys. Thank you so much. I tried to keep it as short as possible, but cover as much and be as thorough as possible. And I will be with you on the phone in here in a minute.